vianda popular que crece en cada conuco de mi tierra tropical. En mi cocina no falta.
Ooh, yeah. That is Mr. Cesar Bauvallet performing with the wonderful group Son Como Son that he founded and has led up since their conception in the early 90s. That song you just heard is titled La Yuca, and it is off of their second album, which is titled Corazon. It was so cool getting to pick Mr. Cesar's brain about his creative process, his practice regimen, and how he views working with an ensemble. It was so informative, and I definitely learned so much within the hour that we talked. I will be including a link to the band's website so that you can go check out Son Como Son performing in and around the Albuquerque area. But for now, they will be performing April 20th at the Cooperage. So if you're around, be sure to check that show out. As we mentioned in this episode, the show will start probably around 9:30 or 10. So be sure to get there and get a ticket and be ready to dance. It's going to be a fun night, and I'll see you there. Estamos vivo. We are live with Mr. Cesar Bauvallet here on Our Talk Music. It is a pleasure to have you, my man.
A pleasure to be here with you, Claudio. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, man. It's like I was saying off air, it's something that I've been looking forward to doing for a long time, Cesar. You're a staple of the music scene here in Albuquerque, and you have been for many, many, many years. And
you're just crazy, man.
No, seriously, man.
It's crazy. You don't know what you're talking about.
How long have you been here? When did you first come and start playing music and making noise in Albuquerque?
In Albuquerque, 26 years ago. 1992, I arrived to Albuquerque, New Mexico, October 17. I arrived to the United States on October 12th. Like every immigrant, a little bit of deals with the immigration and blah, 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 blah. And then it's straight to Albuquerque. In 1993, the beginning of 1993, I started thinking about Son Como Son. I was playing with another salsa band at that time.
Before we get into Son Como Son, because I definitely want to get into that, why Albuquerque? Because I'm sure you didn't come. You came in through Miami. Where did you come into the States through? California, New York?
I came through El Paso. I was born in Mexico. I defected.
Okay.
And I came through El Paso because my sister was the only family that I had in the United States, and she was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, wow. Yep.
My brother and me came together, and the plan was to get the family united. You know how we Latinos are.
Yeah.
We
gotta be close to the family. That's right.
Family. We need to be eating the same food, and we need to be in la sopa, in the soup.
That's right.
That's why Albuquerque, New Mexico. So, 26 years. 26 years. A long time.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, Son Como Son came into the picture how soon after 1992?
Months.
Okay.
Months. The idea of Son Como Son, well, it was a little bit of a controversy for me. I came to the United States and I said, well, I should be able to start playing immediately. And that wasn't the case, except, actually, I started playing immediately with two bands.
Give me an idea of how old you are here. So you're in 30s?
I was 32 years old. 32 years old. I was born in 1960. If you want to make kind of some static noise with that thing, and then with October 12, 1960, I was born. So I came on my birthday. I came to the United States on October 12, 1992. Beautiful. Exactly 32 years old. I came in and I was offered work with two bands. One that used to play once a month, Salsa Maria, as a musical director of that band. And the other one was Victor Rodriguez band, Salsa Suite.
Okay.
And we started making noise, but the salsa that was played here was the salsa that came from Puerto Rico, from New York. It was not the Cuban style, the Cuban influence, timba, all that stuff. That was not present. People here were playing salsa with a timbal, very traditional. I was done in New York and Puerto Rico, how I mentioned. And I came from something else. I came from the era of Angela Banda and all those different concept of quote-unquote salsa music. Salsa doesn't exist. And I'm going to get a little bit of feedback from people with that.
Yeah, we can get into that a little more later. All right.
Salsa is an umbrella name that was created to be able to sell all the rhythms.
Interesting.
From the Caribbean and countries, from Puerto Rico, bomba plena, merengue, and cumbias, and son, guaracha, mambo, cha-cha-cha, blah, blah, blah. So everything is under the salsa
Under
name.
the umbrella,
So it's under the umbrella. It's a very commercial, successful name. I cannot complain about that. Right. But the way that we were playing in Cuba, that was not here. So I was arranging music and conducting and doing all that in Cuba. So I had the itch. I have the little gusanito, the little bug that was telling me I need to do what you came from. And I started writing music and keeping my eyes open for people. I was not looking for people that were excellent musicians. Well, excellent is quote-unquote excellent musicians. I was not looking for the names of the people that were already playing. I was looking for people that were humble enough to learn how to play something different. And that's how Son Como Son was created. By February, March 1993, we started putting the band together. And it was my brother and me on trombone, my nephew Ricardito, which is in Miami now, on trumpet. Poor kid. He was like 16. In between my brother and me, that was a nightmare for him. Anytime he played a wrong note, he got slapped from one of the two sides. Janet Herman on bass. She's my wife now. At that time, we were not involved yet.
All right.
Mary Woman was playing piano. At that time was Chico Abukusumo on congas. Rafaela Redondo was playing timbal. Yvonne Olivarri was singing with us. So the first name of the band was Yvonne Olivarri and Son Como Son.
Wow, really?
Yep.
So Yvonne Olivarri has been a name in New Mexico's music for a long
time. And she has a lot of talent that she has been putting into the music in New Mexico.
That's amazing.
Salsa and now she's doing a lot of salsariachis, how she call it.
Yeah.
Mariachi tunes converted to salsa and all that, which is beautiful.
It's a beautiful fusion.
Yes. Yeah. And that's how Son Como Son started. And with time, some people left, some people came. Rafaelito left first. Tomas White came in the band at that time. My brother and my nephew moved to Miami with my sister, but I decided to stay. I fell in love with New Mexico. I fell in love, and this is unbelievable. I am a guy that is from an island, so ocean is very important. At least here I have the sand.
Yeah.
So I always say in my country, the lobo un pelo. Anyways, so Tomas White came into the band, and then Paul Gonzalez came into the band. Mari Carlucci was retired at the time. He was not playing with anybody. But I had the bug to get him in the band as well. It took a little bit of time, but the band moved that way. Victor Rodriguez came in the band a little bit after that. Chico left. And that's how the band was created. It was just, let's play a little bit of something that is not from here. We were rehearsing for a year without a gig.
Wow.
But that's how I see things.
That's how you want to go, of course.
Yeah, so you need to get prepared. You need to learn stuff.
Yep.
You need to polish it as much as you can. And then we went out there and we started playing and suffering. Because that's how it is. You start going and you start finding areas that you have to... Areas of improvement. That's how you say it in English. So in Spanish... parte que están bien reventadas y tiene que arreglarla. So
that's very true. Yeah.
That's how Son Como Son was born. That's my baby.
So speak to me a little bit about the backbone of the band, which is you and your wife, and how you initially came to meet her, and asked her to start playing in the band, or how did that start? Because you said initially she was in the band and she wasn't your wife. Was she your girlfriend initially?
No,
nothing.
No relationship.
You just heard.
This is funny. This is a funny story. I met Jana Herman when I started playing with that Salsa Maria. And we did an audition to get a bass player in the band. And in that audition, 2 people showed to the audition. And one of those 2 people was Jana Herman. And I was really, really, really concerned about written skills because my view was in write music, not just play by ear what everybody's playing. Incorporate original music. I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that anytime a live band plays a cover and makes a band about playing covers, you're stopping the music, the type of music that you're playing in the back, because you're kind of saying, quote unquote, there's no more talent, there's not more that can be done with this. So I wanted to create music, create new stuff. And so I needed people that were able to read or to learn. And we went to that position, and audition. And Janet gets there and she started playing a piece of music that was written there, and she's playing that piece of music so good that I said, it's way too like the recording. So I said, stop. Let's stop here. Let's start in bar 29. And to the difference of the other people that were around, she says, wait a second. I don't read too much, but I can learn. Let me see this. And she took the time and was humble enough to say, I don't know how to do this, how it's done. And that was a really, really, really high quality from my part. That I saw on her.
It's a beautiful attitude.
It's a beautiful attitude.
Absolutely.
And yes, in 3 minutes, she got the things. Oh, yeah, I understand how it is. And boom, 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 you play. That's how we met. At that time, I was working because how we come here, we not necessarily come to do what we want to do, but what we need to do.
Yeah.
I was working in a cardboard box factory. Haciendo caja y levantando cosas, and I lost my job. And she tells me, you know what, I work I have my business. It's an instrument repair shop, second wind repair. I don't make a lot of money, but you don't have a work. You can work with me a little bit, and I can pay you a little bit. That was another really nice quality of somebody.
Wow. Yeah.
At that time, the shop was at Don Lesman, the music store.
Oh, yeah.
And I started playing
where Bombs Lesmans is, right?
It was at the other side of the street. It was in Lomas, but in beside the Pet Emporium place. That's what it was, the location at that time before they moved to the other side.
Got you.
So we started working, and I started learning a little bit about the fixing the instruments. I'd always been inclined to mechanics and destroying things. Not fixing things, but destroying things. That's when we started talking and whatever. We got together. We started the band. I was able to bring my family from Cuba. My family, my father and my mother from Cuba. We used to started rehearsing in the band. When you say the backbone of the band, me and Janet, I am not the backbone of the band. The backbone of the band is the swing that the bass plays with. And any kind of music related to Cuban timba, Cuban style, salsa, the bass it's the perfect combination in between the rhythmic aspect of the music and the harmonic aspect of the music.
Yeah.
It's not just, play the bass and play the bass and play the. You have to play with something that comes inside. You can play the notes in place perfectly fine, but that doesn't give you the humph,
the feel.
The feel.
Yeah.
But that woman had that feel, and she was able to get it. And I don't know anybody else around that does, to be honest. And it's a bunch of good bass players in here, but that feel is something that you're born with. You cannot create it or whatever. But that's so. I consider Janet Herman the backbone of the band, and that's how I introduced her. The backbone of the band is on the bass. After that, the combination of her and Tomas and Victor made it really tight and called me on this percussion section, the bass, the drums with timbal, and the congas. Then after that, you put the piano, and then you have the rhythm section with the harmonies and everything. And that's the people that give in Son Como Son the flavor, what we're looking for. So that's the backbone, the big backbone with it's stick that puts everything together, the glue. And now, that's Janet.
Now, I love it. And I love the also the relationship of what a rhythm section is in a regular band, which is just the drums, piano, guitar, and drum set, compared to what it is in a band like Son Como Son or a band like Enjoy that I got to play with many years ago. Tell me, and break it down for the listener that doesn't know very much about this type of music, what the difference is in a rhythm section.
Well, and every other kind of music except the music that we play, the Latin stuff that we play. That 2 and 4 in the snare drum, the backbeat.
Yeah.
That makes the band swing. Puff, 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 and you can go with that every time. But that's a very strict 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this type of music, Latin music, salsa, timba, son, the 1 is not there. And the 2 is not there. The only one of those that you play is the 4. And you anticipate the harmonic cycle. So it is very important to have the 1 ingrained in your body to be able not to play it and not to move from the places that you need to play.
Yes.
And that's what makes the difference. It feels like somebody's pulling you by your shirt all the time, but it's not taking you anywhere. It's pulling you, but it's leaving you there. And that's, from my point of view, for the people that doesn't know, that are not music inclined. And if we want to go into detail, it's called syncopation. The 1 is there, but it's not played. And the 1 is solid, but you cannot hear it. That's the deal.
Yeah. It's a powerful thing to see a band, my native Colombia has an incredible amount of orchestras that, Grupo Nietzsche or Orquesta Guayacán that have the rhythm section and specifically the rhythm aspects of it that is not harmonic, consisting of 3, 4, 5 guys sometimes. And that amount of people where someone is just playing one instrument over here, someone is just doing this rhythm over here, and it's all the collection of all of the rhythms. Then with the foundation, the bass, I say the foundation, but we're speaking about the bass movement and then the harmony. It's like, it's another world of music. And as you said, and as you already hinted at, it's like you got your band rehearsed for a year, and then you hit the stage, and then it was you suffer through it, and it's like you learn.
Even after that, hitting the stage, rehearsals was every week. Even hitting the stage every week, every week we had a rehearsal with gig or without gig. I believe in rehearsing,
and I admire that. And Canoa Calihiva and I were talking about that the other day about how bands do not like to, musicians in general in New Mexico, they don't like to hear the word rehearsal. They don't know what that is.
You know what? That makes me sick.
That makes really bothers me. Yeah.
One of the worst things that I experience as a musician is to go to the gig wondering what's gonna happen. Even if because you did one rehearsal for the first, we went in a gig not too long together, and we had 2 days of rehearsal. And the first day we rehearsed the first set, and the second day we rehearsed the second time. That was a Monday and a Tuesday, and the gig was Saturday. Okay, so what is gonna happen when we hit Saturday? So everybody is... And it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's not perfect.
No. Not what it could have been.
I love to play relaxed. I love to play in a situation that everybody knows the material so good that if something happens, nothing happens.
I think even had those 2 rehearsals been the 2 weeks before, and spread out.
And spread out. You rehearse one time, and then you go home. You do your homework. You share a little bit, and then you come back, and then you put it together.
You hit it a little harder. You're like, hey, at least we have kind of an idea, as opposed to literally just throwing it together in 2 days. And not to discredit or talk bad about the people that organize the event at all, but I mean, it's just the way that New Mexicans function. It's not just that gig. It's a lot of gigs in town.
It's a lot of things that happen like that, and I try to be away from that. That's why you don't see me out there
playing out and about, right?
I ask, well, I have a gig from you. I would love you to play with us. Oh yeah, I will love it too. How many rehearsals? Well, we're going to get together the day before, and then we're going to. I'm sorry.
No, I'm okay.
No, I'm okay. No, I'm okay.
Doesn't sound like my kind of thing.
But why? No, because I'm not that good. I don't like to be side reading in the gig. And that's how I have to say it. Maybe you need somebody else that is able to do this. And it's not that I don't know how to side read. It's that I don't want to be in the
stressful
prerogative
situation
of being under that stress.
Right.
I like to have fun. For me, the work is done in the rehearsal room, and then the art form comes alive in the performance. But you don't supposed to be working there. You're just supposed to be creating, making music. And it's a difference in between playing music and making music for me. And I'm sorry, I am an old guy, I'm 58. It's difficult to change me at this time.
Now, something that is a question I was discussing with someone the other day that kind of comes into play, especially for you being a band leader, and not initially from what you just told me, but I mean, into your current stage of what Son Como Son does. What is the difference of a performer and a musician performing music?
Well, a performer is, from my point of view, the person that when it hits the stage, everything that is not music, it disappears. Anything that is not audience, it disappears. And performing is the person that is able to establish the communication link in between what is happening in the stage and out of the stage, fit from that, and make the night light up. That's it. And sometimes that thing that is happening, it's not something that was rehearsed. At some point, in Son Como Son, and in that project that we were together in Men's Voices last year, at some point I said, stop. Don't play the guitar anymore. Don't play the piano anymore. Bass, stop. Percussion, keep playing. And I'm going to make that audience to become the band. Participate. Be part of this beautiful art form and life experience that is called music. Because that's what it is. We all have music in our lives. We heard music before we came out of the womb. When we came out, our mothers and our fathers, sometimes, mostly our mothers, were arroz mi niño, lullabies to put us to sleep or to wake us up. And we would talk with baby voices
sounds,
like, ay, mira qué lindo, qué niño. And it's a little song there.
Yes.
So we all have that, and this is part of who we are. We're human beings.
Yes.
And if you are able, as a performer or as a musician, to get that and to tap into that source of beauty, then you're a performer.
That's beautiful. Beautifully put. Now, Cesar, what does it mean to you to compose music and to have that music live past you? Like, what do I guess, to rephrase the question, what do you hope your music does once you've passed on?
When I passed on, I don't know, because I cannot look that far. I don't think my music is going to go anywhere. My objective is not what's going to be the legacy. My objective is what the music that I compose does the day that I'm playing it, in the moment that I'm playing it, with the reality that we are all dealing with individually and as a community the day of. That's why my tunes with Son Como Son are a little bit different every time. We all go to situations in life, and we all decide to go to that venue that is going to have music for different reasons. Some of us because we love to party. Oh, and party time is party time. And some of us because we are depressed because life is hard. And life is hard is redundant. It's life. And it's deep. And at that point that the music is happening, I like my music and I love my music to be able to get the people a little bit away from the problems and show the beauty of life. That's my work as a dance band. When I write music for a concert, is sit down there, don't do anything, maybe juggle your head and listen to how good Canoa plays the saxophone and how beautiful Paul this, and look at that timbal solo and listen to the bass and blah, 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 blah. Just listen and don't do anything else. I appreciate what I'm giving you because I've spent this many years studying. But that's not my main thing. My main thing is let's go out there and let's put the people to dance. Sometimes the whole night goes by and nobody takes a solo in my band. And sometimes people say, hey, how come in Son Como Son we don't play solos? And I said, because we are a dance band. When I'm playing a solo, it's about myself. It's about me showing how many years, how I said before, I spent behind the music stand and doing my it's me. Yeah. And it's not about me, it's about the people. It's about the people. It's about, so that's what my music is for. It's for today, for the reality that we're living as immigrants, as people from here, as everybody, and it's beautiful to see how people from all kind of upcomings come together at that point. So that's what I write music for. Another thing, I write music because I don't have any other choice. Because sometimes an idea comes at 2 o'clock in the morning, and if I don't stand up and write it, I cannot sleep. So that's the other part.
That's a beautiful transition to what my next question was going to be, which was about what is your creative process, right? I mean, obviously you just said that inspiration strikes at the wee hours of the morning in the same as it does sometimes in the day, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, when I used to drive a truck, because that's another thing that I did.
Okay.
And this is at the beginning of Son Como Son.
A big truck, like a semi-truck or just like a delivery truck?
24, but I used to do all New Mexico, sometimes Colorado, or things like that. So that's a lot of hours in the road.
Oh, yeah.
Driving, okay. For example, one of my lines used to be get out of Albuquerque at 4:30 in the morning and go all the way to... how you call it? No, Peñasco, past Peñasco, past Las Vegas, one of those swim mills in the middle of nowhere, and then come back and go to Las Vegas, and then take Highway 68 and go. Oh my God, I don't want to be talking about this. Spend the whole day in the road, get to Farmington, come back, or go to Cortez, or go to this, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I used to stop in the middle of the road, put the truck on the side, go jump in the back of the truck, open the thing, rip a piece of a cardboard box, close the truck, get in the cab, and write something in that cardboard box. And then come back home. And then make an arrangement out of that. And the band used to say, oh my God, this one is going to sound like a truck driver. Those horns sound like you're going in, wing, wing, wing. But that was a source of inspiration. Sometimes it's an idea. Sometimes it's a poetical idea. I'm not a poet, but it's a phrase, for example. And sometimes it's something that my kid was singing, or sometimes it's something, a memory, or sometimes it's just a harmonic cycle that comes into my head. And I put it together and I write it and say, okay. And this, I could put this on top of that, and I could put this on top of that. And that's in what you were talking about in your place in Colombia, how one part is put on top of another one, and then on top of another one, and you start putting layers together. And when you look at that, it's a piece of music. And it's beautiful, and I don't know if the other people don't like it, but I do. So let's make it happen. The other thing is the ideas of the band members. That's important, and the abilities of the band members to understand and to work in the things that we're doing. So I am not Son Como Son. The band is Son Como Son. The amount of hours that every single member of this band, Mary Womack, Jana Herman, Victor Rodriguez, Tomas White, Paul Gonzalez, Mari Carlucci when he was there, Lester Rodriguez now singing, all the singers that have gone by, everybody, Canoa that is playing with us now, everybody goes home and then they come back and then say, yeah, this is like this. And we work together. They rehearse when I'm not rehearsing. They get together and jam.
Wow.
Oh, and then they come back and say, we did this. What do you think? Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Oh yeah, that sounds good. And let's do it like that. Or that, that sounds good. Can we tweak it a little bit this way because of this reason? And it's a communication. So it's the band. It's just the family. It's just the family sitting down at supper time and talking about the day. That's what Son Como Son is. That's what the band is.
Now, you might have already answered this, but of course, tell me about the name of the band. Why'd you choose Son Como Son?
Son Como Son. I didn't choose the name by myself, but it was a little bit of a rebellious name. I'm a very peaceful guy. The only thing that I do is to sharpen my machetes and let people do. But other than that, I'm a very peaceful guy. When I came here, the venues and the venues owners had the control of what the bands were going to do and what the bands were going to get paid and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one thing that I learned very young was nobody can put price to my work. I define how much I want to get paid. And of course it's a budget, but we will talk about it and we will. It's not like, come here to play and I'm going to pay you $500 for 10 people to play for me for 3 hours. Ain't gonna happen. No with Son Como Son. So that made the name Son Como Son. Double meaning. Song is a type of music in Cuba. Okay? So we play song how the song should be played. That was the main thing. With all the whistles and stars and blah, 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 blah. But also stands for they are like they are. A little bit different. And they are not going to take, we are not here to take whatever you want to give us. We're going to ask for what we want, for what we think is nice. And we're going to work with you. It's not that we are total, not jobs that say, no, if you don't pay me this, I'm not going to do it. Blah, blah,
Right,
blah, blah.
no, right.
No, but let's sit down and let's talk and let's see what you have, let's see what I have, and let's get to an agreement and do things in a different way. Mainly, it's respect. So, Son Como Son, they are like they are. Song like some music should be played. It's all about respect. Respect the roots to make it sound of the art form in order to be able to make it grow, and respect the people and respect the work that musicians do. I grew up, unfortunately, and I still see, unfortunately, that some people ask you, what do you do for a living? I'm a musician. No, but what do you do for a living? What's your profession?
How do you make money, though? Right.
What's your profession?
Right.
Okay, well, I went to the conservatory in Havana for 8 years after I was studying in my house for another 16, and this is my career, Music a career? No, you can be an architect. But I don't want to be an architect, and I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a musician. I want to cure people and build things in a different way with a different set of tools. So that's what it is. That's Son Como Son.
How long has it been since, or how recently, I should ask, do you go to Cuba, or have you been to Cuba?
I have never been to Cuba. Never, ever. I left September 27, 1992. And I said goodbye. And I have not gone back.
Would you ever like to go back?
And that's a difficult question to answer. Some people are not going to agree with me because it's a bunch of people that go back. But it's a risk going back that I am not willing to take. Because, and I don't want to go into politics in your postcard, but I'm just going to touch on it. I decided to become an American citizen, and I am an American citizen. And the government of Cuba doesn't allow me to go to Cuba as an American citizen. They tell me, no, we don't believe in what you decided to do. You have to come to Cuba as a Cuban. So in other words, it's another violation of my rights. And I came here for political reasons, and it's a matter of principles. But I am that stupid.
No, I mean, every one of the first generation Americans wonders about their parents' relationship with their homeland, because obviously they left for a better thing and they left for a reason, and sometimes they take a long time to go back. My mother and father came to the United States in 1985 and came to New Mexico in 1992, as a matter of fact, as well.
Nice.
Same year. And so my dad didn't go back to Colombia for 17 years. And finally went back, and now he goes back, often. But the relationship with many people and going back to their countries, and specifically, I know Cuba is obviously a hotspot with the situation going on there now, and as it has been going on in the past 26, 20, 30 years, 40 years,
59, almost 60 years
to be specific. Absolutely, absolutely. So, speak to me a little bit about education and music education and what role that plays in your life.
Music education, me as an educator?
Yeah.
Well, as one of my students says, I am Cesar Bauvallet, a specialist in musical tortures.
This is the definition. Your student perfectly defined what is the definition of hanging and playing with Cesar, as all musicians describe it.
So, yeah, I'm a little bit hard sometimes. But I had the privilege of learning music since I was 4 years old and following a process that I don't often see follow here. When a kid gets to UNM to start studying music, they play their instrument. Some really good, some okay, some not that good, but they play their instrument, but they don't have any idea of what the theory of music is, or the physics of music is, or how things relate to each other. They don't know solfege. Everything is, I'm going to play a C, and then they get, and I'm going to do this. This is not personal. I'm going to talk about a guitar. Okay? Tune your guitar, and I said, let me go get my tuner. Come on, music is to be heard. You need to be able to tune your instrument without a tuner. If you have the tuner, it's okay. I'm not telling you not to use it, but if I tell you your third string is out of tune, I'm not expecting you to stand up and go to your case and get your tuner and get your tuner to put it in
It's
tune.
called using your ear to tune that third string up a little bit and hear that note in tune now in the chord.
And me not having to tell you that third string is out of tune. So, and that's because the kids don't get a musical education here in grade school or middle school. And the parents try to send them to music. And they say, I want my son to learn to play the drums. And I want my son to learn to play the trombone or the trumpet or the saxophone. And they get a trumpet or saxophone teacher. And that teacher is paid to teach them how to play saxophone. And they get the saxophone book. Let's play this. And that's what they're doing. And these teachers try to force a little bit, they read this and read this. But the formal, methodical education is not there. They don't learn. For example, and maybe I'm wrong this, but you asked me about me.
I'm asking. That's right.
The three of us, me, myself, and I. So kids learn about Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian before they learn major, natural minor, harmonic minor, melodic minor, double harmonic, Armenian, double harmonic scale. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Because all those modes that we were talking about come from the major scale in the first place.
To one scale, that's right.
It's the Ionian world, which is the major scale.
That's right.
And they have the treatment that
It's
is
just knowing
different.
the different shapes of that scale, the different areas of it and colors of it. But if you want to complicate it with calling it Dorian and doing all this stuff, at the end of the day, you're totally correct. It's not addressing those other scales, which are the more important scales in harmony as it happens in real music.
They don't even know that there is a perfect scale to play everything.
What's that? What's the perfect scale?
The chromatic scale, you have it all. If you have them all.
I love it.
So they don't have this simple, very accessible set of tools. It's not given to them. They don't know anything about the harmonic series. The harmonic series. Oh my God! I just said a bad word in your podcast. Harmonic series. What the heck is this crazy Cuban talking about? Well, anytime you make a sound, that sound relates a series of overtones. That is how music works. I'm sorry. And nobody knows that harmonic series is a dominant 7 chord with a sharp 11. And then you write in a chart C7 sharp 11 and they say, oh my God, that's a jazz chord. How do I play that? They don't even know that chord has 2 tritones. They don't even know what a tritone is. They don't even know the structure of a major scale or a minor scale or this, and this and that. So how are you going to expect these people to be really successful if they don't have a foundation?
There's a lot of holes in that gap. Yeah, the holes are too much to jump over and...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I get a student, you ask me about me as an educator, and it sounded like I was going out of the question, but I was not. So as an educator, somebody comes to me and said, I had a student that told me, a long time ago. That was a long time ago. He saw me playing a gig at a place that used to be called Siegel Street. Long time ago. That was the place to go. I used to be playing there every Friday with different bands. The bands sure, but I was there all the time. I used to play with Pandemonium. I used to play with No Question. I used to play with a bunch of people. And so I was there. And somebody approached me once and says, I want to play the trombone like you. And I said, it's an honor that you tell me that you want to play like me. I hope you can play like you, but yeah, let me teach you. And the guy goes to my house, comes into the music room and tells me, I forgot my mouthpiece. And I say, okay, what kind of mouthpiece you use? Oh, I use a 6.5 AL. This is technical stuff. Whatever. I say, this is the same mouthpiece that I use. Let me get you one. Wait. Let me go get my mouthpiece in the car. That's to start. It's a red flag. You want to learn, but you don't want to play. Okay. And then when he comes back, he tells me, I want you to teach me to play this. And I said, If you want to play like me, you have to do what I did. Like Claudio, if somebody wants to play the guitar like you, they have to practice the same thing that you practice. And if anybody want to play like John Maestas, have to play like John Maestas. And they want to play like Michael Anthony, you have to do the years of study and practicing and So, me as an educator, first class, first lesson with me, I open this way. I am the only teacher that fires students in this town. If you want to learn, you're in the right place. If you don't, there's the door before I spend my time with you. That's the start. And then you ask me to teach you something, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to provide the tools that you need to do what you want, even if it's not what you're expecting, because you're asking me to be your teacher. So that's what I do. And it's the way I learn. It's nothing new. So sorry that I talked too long about that.
That's the beautiful thing, Cesar, about these podcasts is that there is no too long. You know, it's like we're not, you know, even though this podcast isn't live right now, we could be going live. And the conversation is as long as we want it to be or as short as we want it to be.
Good. So now I'm nice monosyllables. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yes. No.
That makes it the most boring, man. I think my longest podcast was with Miss Patty Littlefield, and it was 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Nice.
And so now I'm finding kind of a sweet spot around an hour or just before an hour, you know. But
what's wrong with yes and no? That's just dominant and tonic. Talk to me.
Now tell me what the writing process is like for you personally when you break down songs for the band. How does an idea eventually end up into the arrangement that it is for all the parts, you know?
That's a very difficult question for me because it's never the same. It's never a process that is followed to the dot.
Sure.
Sometimes it's a lyric that comes to my mind, and I say, "Oh my God, this sounds good." It's just a phrase that becomes a lyric sometimes. For example, I'm working on something right now. I had an idea a couple of days ago. I had a phrase in my head that says "Señora de mirada anónima," lady with not determined look. I don't know, something like that. And I am going around that. What that brings to my mind? What personality that brings? And then I write the lyrics for that, and then I look at the lyrics and say, okay, what kind of harmonic treatment this will take, and how that harmonic treatment will become a tune that people could listen to or dance to. And then starts moving by itself like the water coming out of the mountains, looking for the path until you touch the river or you touch the ocean or it doesn't go anywhere. That's the process, mainly.
Do you feel like practicing the instrument is probably the biggest thing that is the hardest thing, I should say, to get students to do?
Yes, and this is why. And I was talking to one of my students 3 days ago about this. I said, if you start practicing and you're having fun, you're not practicing.
That is so true. Oh, that hurts. That statement just burns because it's the reality for older musicians as it is with younger musicians. If you're having fun, you should be working.
You should be working. It should be bad. It should be.
It shouldn't sound good.
Oh my God, this is not good. Let me do it again, and let me do it again, and this is not good. Okay, I did it. Let me try to do it again. Oh my God, I forgot that. If you're having fun, now you're playing. You're not practicing.
So beautifully said. Yeah. Now, what do you do for your own practice sessions? I mean, I know practice, I'm sure, has evolved for you from what it used to be, but what does your practicing look like now?
Actually, it has not evolved at all.
Really?
I have to practice drum set. I have to practice congas. I have to practice timbal. I have to practice bongo. I have to practice bata drums. I have to practice trombone. I have to practice my writing skills, rules, chords. I have to listen. So listening is a very important part of practicing. listening to what is happening, listening how other people do things, determine what you like. But technique is very important. If you want to play a lick and you don't have the technical conditions in your fingers, in your mouth, and your slide to do it, you know what? Ain't gonna happen. So scales, arpeggios, interval is long tones, because your instrument needs to sound good. If I get a trombone and I blow my trombone and my trombone sounds like, wah, oh no, I don't want to practice anything else than stay there for half an hour playing. Very soft, very boring, upsetting to the neighbors. Long tones, one note at a time for as long as I can. Use dynamics on it until the trombone doesn't sound anymore. And if I couldn't do it today, I will have to go back to do the same tomorrow. It's part of being realistic. You want to sound one way, you have to practice that to make it work. You want to run, you need to crawl, you need to walk, and then you need to run. So musicians and people in general believe that you just get your instrument and you play. But if they're going to run, they run for one block first, and then they run for two. And if they're going to do to a marathon, they train for 3 months to go to a marathon. It's the same thing with this. And how I put it as an example, if I'm going to be, if anybody's going to be in a OR, you don't want that surgeon reading the instructions of
how to cut into your
God. So you hope that guy knows how to hold that blade every time. You hope that guy cuts every day.
And for you musicians out there who didn't get that reference, as I was saying, get off the music. Stop staring at that music sometimes, right? It's like, you can look at the music, but, if you're, as a musician, still stuck to the page looking at the instructions as opposed to knowing sometimes the music, that's another aspect of it. And not to say that you have to have everything memorized,
No, but you need to know what's going on.
You need to know what's going on.
You need to know what's coming.
Yeah.
You need to know that a 2-5 is going to go to a 1. Or some kind of substitution of the 1.
That's right.
Or it's going to go to another 2-5 or another 2-5. You need to know what is coming. That's it. And be ready for it. Or not.
Now, one of the questions says that I've grown to ask most of my podcast guests. And it's not an asking for you to define the word in a dictionary for me, but it's more what it means in your life. And it's a question that Art Farmer, trumpet player in the jazz world, he put a book out, and it's kind of like conversations with other famous jazz musicians who were his friends. So as opposed to being an interviewer asking all these famous musicians all these questions, it's like friend to friend asking these questions. So he's getting a much deeper response. But one of the questions that he would ask is, what does jazz mean in your life?
Jazz is medicine. That's what it is for me. And I am not a jazz player. I don't consider me a jazz trombone player or a jazz drummer. I'm more a Latin kind of guy. But jazz is medicine. It makes me feel good. It makes everybody around feel good. From a ballad that takes some tears out of the people that is in love sitting in the back table, or a fast swing that makes people start jumping. It's medicine. It's so powerful that it's able to change the perspective in that moment of anybody that is listening, paying attention to it.
If I was to guess, would I be right to assume that your answer would be pretty similar if I was to substitute the word jazz for son or for timba?
Exactly.
Okay.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is.
It's beautiful. So, Cesar, as we're wrapping up, tell me a little bit about the 2 shows you've got coming up. I know you said one is April 20th.
Yeah, that's at our house. That's a dance at the Cooperage dance party. Salsa going style with Son Como Son. Go there, bring a friend.
I love it. What time is you guys start playing at 9? 10?
We start playing. Music starts around 9:30 with some recorded music. We start around 9:40, 9:45. Sometimes 9:50, depending on the amount of people. It goes all the way to 1 o'clock. It's beautiful because it has been our place for the last 20-some years, playing there. And it's an important. That's the thermometer. That's what we play the new tunes. It's very difficult to play a new tune, original tune, because nobody knows anything about it. And then you start playing, and the people start looking like, "What the heck is coming up?" And you can see it in the faces. Where is this gonna go? What is this crazy guy doing? I have not ever heard that, but you see the movement. Cooperage is the thermometer. That's the lab.
Yep.
And it is a really important gig for us. We keep doing it. Sometimes we have low audience, like every other band, because economy is hard. It has been hard for years. And sometimes it's amazing the amount of people that are there, and the level of the energy level is always good. Let me put it that way. Because everybody that goes there, they know what they're going to go to do. The other one, I was called by Mariano Morales, piano player, excellent piano player from Puerto Rico, Maestro Mariano Morales. Doctor Mariano Morales. Vamos a ponerlo con todo, no doctor, doctor, con la R, ya tú sabes. He approached me for a musical that is going to be done in ACC. I don't have too many details. The only thing that I have is the dates. It's going to be April 11, 12, 13, 14. The NECC. I got a book with my music. Listen to this, a book with my music. I'm going to have to read, and the MP3s. So I'm going to have to listen. Okay, and guess what I'm going to be doing for this week before the first rehearsal?
Practicing.
And I'm going to be playing percussions and that thing. So I'm going to be having to do a lot of double stroke, single stroke, and paradiddles in my congas, and brushing my castanets, and making sure that the triangle is in the place that I left it the last time, and putting all that together, and the best instrument ever.
Which is that?
The tambourine. Anyways, but it's exciting. It's exciting because it's a different thing, and anytime it's different, it's very fulfilling.
That's awesome.
So that's how the two comings. We have several gigs that are coming as well at the IPCC in the Pueblo Cultural Center. That starts for us in June, once a month. And we have the Salsa on the Stars, the closing of the series in August 2nd.
Ooh, awesome.
So all you guys from New Mexico, you better go. Not because you like me, it's because we're musicians and we need the support of people. We're live bands. I have in my plans, how I was talking before, to try to make 5 minutes to go to that jam session and then Michael's.
We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make that happen, Cesar, because like I said, we're gonna make it like a special Latin jazz night, you know.
We're not. I'm not going to let you know. I'm just going to swing by.
Cesar's gonna play a tune and then pounce.
I'm going to play blue and green, and go and sit down and have a beer and enjoy, and that's it, and enjoy all the people playing. That's what I like to do.
That sounds awesome. It's a pleasure talking to you, Cesar, and learning a little bit about your story, my man, and getting to catch up, because it's been a while since we've talked and seen each other, man.
It has been a while. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely, my man. Until the next time, because we definitely will have you on, and maybe we'll have you with your wife on next time or something. Look out.
So you're going to have her talking bad about me and you ready? No, that wasn't like that. I didn't do that. Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's
Thank
really
you,
nice.
Cesar.
Thank you for taking me into consideration for your podcast.
Man, it's a pleasure.
Claudio, it's your
pleasure,
jam,
man.
and it's nice to be here with you.
Thank you, my
Thank
friend.
you, and thank you to the listeners.
Thank
Hopefully,
you.
you don't get too scared about what I said.
And if you need some suffering, you know who to look for lesson, okay? Thank you, Cesar. That was the episode. Thank you for listening. The very first song we played in this episode was titled La Yuca. We're going to play that one in its entirety. First, we're going to play a song off of Son Como Son's very first album. This song is titled Suavecito Suave. That first album is titled Aquí no falta más nadie.
Báilalo así suavecito, cógele bien el sabor. Báilalo así despacito, ponle el corazón adentro y disfruta su calor. Siente el ardor en tu sangre, vierte energía y control. Venga a bailar suavecito que esta onda está caliente, yo lo digo, sí señor. Es la reunión de dos corrientes de sabor que hasta un mismo río van a dar. Es la difusión de nuestra raza, nuestra música que fluye en nuestras venas con ardor. Oye Piruli, no hay otra. Echa mi gente pa' acá. Báilalo así suavecito que esta onda está caliente y mi gente va a gozar. Párate así de repente, ponga a mi gente a bailar. Deja la pista caliente que aunque quieran o no quieran, de todas formas van a hablar.
Pa' que lo baile, pa' que lo aprenda, pa' que lo goce, pa' que lo sienta. Venga a bailar suavecito, vierte energía y control. Y el ritmo de este tumbao si se baila con sabor. Esta onda está caliente, yo lo digo sí señor. Bailalo así suavecito, cógele bien el sabor. Es nuestra música que fluye en nuestras venas con ardor. Es la reunión inseparable de dos corrientes de sabor. Ponle el corazón adentro y disfruta su calor. Suave, suavecito negra y ven pa' acá. Mueve la cintura y ven a gozar. Suavecito, de suavecito, de suave, suave mamá. Baila suavecito, bailalo así suavecito. Ven a gozar, ven a bailar, ven así despacito. Muévete pa'lante que muévete pa' atrás, ni a prisa ni despacito. Suave, que suavecito, suavecito mamá. Suavecito vamos. caliente que de tu forma van a hablar. Suave, suave, suave,
Suavecito, suave,
suave, suavecito, negra, ven pa' acá a bailar.
suavecito, suave,
Deja la brisa caliente, suave.
suavecito, suave.
Venga a guanachar, que suave, suavecito, mamá. Hoy quiero cantar, señores, a una vianda popular que crece en cada conuco de mi tierra tropical. En mi cocina no falta, porque es mi plato especial. Cocinada en cualquier forma, la tienes que saborear. Esta vianda es bien famosa en toda la población, porque como es tan sabrosa, no tiene comparación. Y se llama la yuca. Se llama yuca y yo sé que a todos les va a gustar. Se llama yuca la vianda que siempre quiero sembrar. Por eso al cielo le ruego que llueva todos los días, pues como un buen aguacero me crece la yuca mía. Oye como dice, ya viene son como tú tocando la yuca.
Pido al cielo un aguacero, pa' que me crezca la yuca.
Pa' que me crezca la yuca, pido al cielo un aguacero, por favor.
Pido al cielo un aguacero, pa' que me crezca la yuca.
Pregúntaselo a Tete, pregúntaselo a Tuca, que buena estaba mi yuca.
Pido al cielo un aguacero, pa' que me crezca la yuca.
Pa' que le guste, pa' que la aprenda. Oye como fuera. Ella quiere que le den, que le den la yuca buena, que se la den con mojo como quiere, que se la den frita como quiera. Ella quiere que le den la yuca que yo traigo. No es la yuca de Casimiro, es la yuca que son como son. ¡Ajúa! Y sigue por ahí.
Se paró, la yuca ya se paró, se paró. Se paró, la yuca ya se paró, se paró.
Oye como traigo la yuca ya se paró.
Se paró, la yuca ya se paró, se paró.
A esa negra la comió y se le paró el corazón.
Se paró, la yuca ya se paró, se paró.
Y me dijo, negro lindo, tú tienes tremendo yucón como me gusta a mí.
La yuca
Ay,
ya se
como me gusta
paró,
a mí.
se paró.
Oye
ya se paró, se paró.
Oye, como traigo la yuca ya se paró.
Se paró.
Oye, como dice mi gente,
La yuca ya se paró, se paró.
la yuca buena que yo traigo, la yuca se me paró.
Se paró.
A esa negra le di indigestión.
La yuca ya se
Cuando
paró,
la probó,
se paró.
oye, como dice mi gente, oye, como dice.
Se paró. La yuca ya se paró, se paró.